Transgender issues.
Pastor Matthew had the worst experience of his life that shocked the entire village. This taught people a lot of things, and I believe that you are going to pick something from this fascinating story. Watch the whole video. Ensure to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Let's get started.
In the stillness of a church, Pastor Matthew Wadodo's once peaceful world begins to unravel. The life he has carefully built with the woman he loves is now crumbling before his eyes. It all started with the discovery of a truth, one that has been hidden for years, a secret so powerful that it threatens everything he holds dear: his faith, his love for his wife, his relationships, and his ministry. As the weeks pass, whispers from his congregation turn into full-blown protests, and Pastor Wadodo finds himself torn between his vow to his wife and his commitment to his ministry. Meet Pastor Matthew Wadodo. On the surface, Pastor Matthew Wadodo and his wife Carol seemed like the perfect couple. Their love story appeared straight like a fairy tale. They were admired by friends and strangers alike. Matthew was 30 and the pastor of Green Place Church in Lagos. Matthew had always been seen by many as a devoted born-again Christian right from his youth. Raised in a conservative household, with his father being a senior member of a church, Matthew was brought up to observe the tenets of Christian life. Early enough, Matthew was seen as a good candidate to head a group in the church. So, at the young age of 27, he was given a parish in the heart of Lagos to lead. Carol was a member of the parish that Matthew inherited. Born in the United States, Carol returned with her parents to Lagos, Nigeria when she was 20, shortly before her father's passing. At 28, she was strikingly beautiful, with a tall frame, radiant brown skin, captivating dark eyes, and an infectious smile. She moved and acted confidently that she was always noticed wherever she gets into. But beneath that confident exterior was a heart longing for acceptance, love, and stability, a longing that led her to participate actively in the church and other social activities, and it paid off. People were drawn to her warmth and charm, especially when she taught in the church Sunday school. It didn't take long for Matthew, the young church pastor, to be captivated by her. Their courtship was swift and intense, surprising those around them. Within months of their meeting, Pastor Matthew proudly took her everywhere, including to the senior pastors' group, as was the custom, as the person God had chosen for him. She fit seamlessly into his life, quickly gaining the approval of his family, friends, and church members. Matthew was deeply in love, and within a year, they were wedded. Their wedding at the church headquarters.
Choosing a woman for marriage.
To outsiders, it appeared they were living a dream, but beneath the surface, subtle cracks were forming. Their honeymoon was luxurious. Matthew spared no expense, treating Carol to 2 weeks of romance. But there was a problem. Despite the beautiful surroundings of Johannesburg, Carol often seemed withdrawn. She would become quiet and distant, her gaze often wandering as though lost in thought, and Matthew noticed her hands tremble slightly from time to time. But he brushed it off as something minor. It could just be the nervousness or anxiety that comes with the overwhelming emotions of the wedding and the shift into married life. Yet, despite his dismissal, a nagging feeling lingered that something wasn't quite right. After returning home, life returned to a routine. They settled into a cozy house Matthew's father had rented for them in a quiet environment. It was the life Matthew had always dreamed of, comfortable, peaceful, with a beautiful wife and a promising future. However, as months passed, Matthew noticed more changes in Carol's behavior. She became secretive, locking her phone whenever he was nearby and disappearing for hours without explanation. She claimed to be working hard and late, but when Matthew surprised her at the school where she taught, he often found her less busy. Excuses piled up, and Matthew's suspicions began to grow. Despite his doubts, Matthew didn't want to believe something was wrong. He loved Carol as the Word of God commanded him to. He consulted the wife of his senior pastor, but she told him that he was overthinking things. "Matthew, marriage is like that," she said. "Carol will adjust." The tension between them grew with each passing day. Their intimacy became increasingly rare and strained. Carol frequently avoided eye contact, as though she were suppressing a truth she couldn't bring herself to share. Then, one fateful day, while Carol was out, Matthew's desperation for a document led him to go through her belongings. Something he found difficult to believe happened.
Guys, let me know what you've learned from this fascinating story. Marriage is a very important institution. I see so many people these days actually take it for granted, but you have to be very, very careful. We've seen people getting married online, and then within a short period of time their marriages crash because they do not know each other, they do not know anything about each other. So I believe you're gonna pick a leaf from this story.
Documents that shook him to his core. Among the documents was a birth certificate bearing the name Obinna Stanley Okeke. Aside from the name, all the information was the same as Carol's. Further digging unearthed medical records detailing Carol's transition from Stanley to Carol. For a moment, Matthew sat frozen, staring at the documents in stunned silence. His mind reeled, unable to reconcile the words and names before him with the woman he thought he knew. Could this be real? Had Carol, his Carol, been born male and transitioned to female? Had she hidden this truth from him all along? The woman he had married, the woman he loved. And Carol's mother. Why had she never mentioned it? He shook his head, his heart pounding as he picked up the papers again, scanning them desperately for some sign of error, some hint that this wasn't what it seemed. "No, this is not possible," he whispered, the words barely audible, as though saying them could somehow make them true. If it were true, though, it wasn't just a secret, it was a betrayal of the very foundation of their relationship. The trust, the love, the promises they had made to one another, everything now felt hollow, as if built on a lie. His thoughts spiraled, each one cutting deeper than the last, the pain settling in like a weight on his chest. He shook his head again, his eyes fixated on the documents. "No, this can't be possible," he muttered, his voice trembling with desperation. Taking a deep breath, he tried to steady himself, clinging to a fragile thread of hope. Maybe the papers belonged to someone else, he reasoned, grasping at any explanation, any that wouldn't shatter his entire world. When Carol returned home, she found him sitting on the edge of their bed, her documents laid bare before him. Seeing them, Carol's face drained of color. She froze in the doorway, her hand tightening around the doorknob as if preparing to flee. "What is this?" Matthew whispered, his voice trembling with rage. He stood, holding the papers like damning evidence. "Please explain these papers to me." Carol's heart sank as she realized the moment had come, the moment her past had caught up with her. She had always known this day might arrive, but had hoped it never would. She had planned to tell Matthew on her terms, but fear of the scandal it could cause in the church and of losing him had kept her silent. "Matthew, please, I was going to tell you. I swear I was, but tell me what?" Matthew interrupted, his voice sharp with anger. Herself, though her heart ached. Back home, Matthew sat in the silence of their once shared home. He clutched the wedding photo they had taken with so much joy and hope, his fingers trembling. He had told himself he was doing the right thing, yet the hollowness in his chest spoke otherwise. His heart broke in a way he hadn't expected, the echoes of her truth and his decision haunting him. And so, while Carol stepped into a future where she could live freely, Matthew was left grappling with the aftermath of his choice, his heart fractured. As the months passed, both Matthew and Carol found themselves reflecting on their choices. For Matthew, the weight of his role as a pastor in Africa left little or no room for compromise in the issue of transgender. The church he had vowed to serve demanded unwavering adherence to its doctrines. He had chosen to do that and bear the consequence. For Carol, returning to America was a bittersweet step toward freedom as she had to leave her elderly mother behind. She had started to understand that Matthew's decision wasn't born of hatred, but of duty to his beliefs. One day, Matthew called her on phone. In their conversation, his voice was steady but filled with sadness. "Carol, I hope you find peace. You deserve to live as the person you were meant to be. And I hope you find strength, Matthew," Carol replied. "I know the weight of your calling. I never wanted to make it harder for you." They ended the call with no bitterness, but with the shared understanding that love, though strong, wasn't enough to bridge the divide between them. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content. We appreciate.
Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to CTV. See you in our next video.